What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Tuesday, May 16th, and I will be in California in 2 days at Contact in the Desert, so unfortunately I probably won't be uploading a video until then. I'll be pretty busy tomorrow, but when I get to Cali, I'll probably do a live video on this channel, so be looking for that. So a couple days till my next vid, but in this one, what I want to do is just simply one of my news about the news updates because, man, it has been a busy 18 hours, let me tell you. So we're going to begin right up here with the Washington Post story that broke last night. And this was about Trump supposedly leaking classified information to Russian authorities or some shit like that. I don't even know what it was, but it first broke on Washington Post, and then it went to like Huffington Post, and I saw it on BuzzFeed and CNN. It was like every single mainstream outlet you could name was all parroting this story off of the Washington Post. Now, why? Because you must always ask yourself, if the mainstream media is pushing this breaking news story, you always have to look behind it and ask, well, what are they trying to distract us from? We got the answer right here. So this distraction, this whole, again, just beating the dead horse of Russia, it was a distraction for new leads on the Seth Rich murder investigation, because this story broke literally last night at 6:48. So at 6:48 p.m. on a Twitter account, multiple Twitter accounts, you know, viral nature these days, circulated real quick. It said Seth Rich's family hired former DC police detective, he was a homicide detective, and tells Fox 5 DC tonight there is evidence Rich was emailing with WikiLeaks. This broke at 6:48 p.m. This Washington Post article came out literally 57 minutes later. So it looks like when this story broke on Twitter and started circulating around, those involved with the Seth Rich murder, which most likely the Clinton campaign, John Podesta directly, we'll get to that, they said, oh shit, we gotta cover our ass. So they wrote up a story real quick and published it out. And since Trump was happening to meet with some Russian delegates that day, they said, oh, you know, that's gonna be our shtick. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. It's getting more oblivious that they literally have nothing to report, so they'll make up a story and throw it out there. And now literally this story, it went from Trump giving secrets to Russians. The White House said, dude, we can totally do that, and we didn't even give him anything that bad. So then in the mainstream media outlets, you started seeing articles like earlier this morning. It's about 3:30 p.m. here right now. I saw it earlier this morning where they were saying, oh, Trump can actually give secret, you know, give this information that he did to the Russians, but how morally justifiable is it? So they were backtracking, right? And now, when I look just on CNN here, there's some story about James Comey writing a memo saying that Trump told him to put a stop on the Michael Flynn investigations. So, yeah, Comey memo, Trump asked me to stop Flynn investigation. So they're having to cover their ass so freaking fast from story to story to story to backtrack to whatever they can pump out next to distract from this. And what's really freaking funny is that when this article came out on Washington Post, and this was before, I was reading all of this before I even found out about the new Seth Rich info coming out. So, and I actually posted this, I'm literally going to read my Facebook post to you right now. And you know, it was, what I did was I looked at every single news outlet and I read the first line of it. The Washington Post says, President Trump reveals highly classified information to the Russian foreign minister and ambassador in a White House meeting last week, according to current and former U.S. officials. They were the first ones to break the story, the Washington Post. Then I went on to CNN. CNN said, 2 former officials knowledgeable of the situation confirmed to CNN that the main points of the Washington Post story are accurate. Okay. Let's move on to the Huffington Post. They said, President Donald Trump disclosed highly classified information during a meeting with Russian officials last week, according to the Washington Post. Now, lastly, let's talk about BuzzFeed. President Trump revealed highly classified information to Russian officials during a meeting last week at the White House. 2 U.S. officials confirmed Monday to BuzzFeed News. This is how pathetic mainstream media is, and the reason I read all that to you was because I want to point out how they try to manipulate your mind. So, again, these were the first guys to break the story, break the fake news BS propaganda, right? What then happens, and what typically happens in mainstream media when these stories break, is that every other media outlet will parrot that same story off the first one. They were the first one to get give the marching orders, or get the marching orders per se, to run this BS story. Then all the other outlets followed suit, okay? Big question, who the heck are these 2 foreign officials that are talking to Washington Post and BuzzFeed and all that jazz? Mainstream media is so pathetic, and it literally reads like some high school like gossip fest. They don't say who these 2 officials are. They don't say what highly classified information it was. There's nothing credible to back up what they say. So then they just parrot all these stories to distract from the Seth Rich investigation. Which, holy crap, this is pretty mind-blowing that this information is coming out right now. Because, and it's quite interesting that it's breaking on a local outlet in Washington, D.C. So this also gives me hope that, again, there are people in media organizations that want to report on this stuff. Normally, you won't find them in the mainstream media, but you will find them in a lot of local outlets. Like, remember Ben Swan. Ben Swan did a great report on Pizzagate a few months ago, but he probably got threatened with litigation and had to kind of go under the radar, per se. And I also get, a side note as well, I get a lot of questions on Ben Swan. He's very much alive. He's very much still reporting for CBS Atlanta. He just doesn't have his Truth in Media page public, and he's kind of flying under the radar for now. So, just wanted to clarify that for y'all. He's okay. He's awesome, man. I miss him. He's like my spirit animal. But anyway, this broke. Now, also to note, let's ask why Washington Post were the first one to run the story. Well, I mean, if you don't know, Washington Post is like the main CIA rag of all the CIA rags that are corporate media. When they were bought out in 2013 by the Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, they were initially started with a $600 million contract from the CIA. So they are like, boom, CIA rag number 1. Now, also goes to note, who did they recently hire in the past couple months? This guy. Podesta the Molester right there. So this is why they were the first ones to break the story, is because all these new leads and all this new information started coming out on Seth Rich and started just going viral, that Podesta was like, oh shoot, we gotta put something out there. So that's why it was Washington Post, because him, Mr. implicated directly in his murder, works there. So that's the whole cover. I mean, you're beginning to see how they manipulate our minds, literally, and they all conglomerate around the same central power sources. The government and the media is like this. So that's why. And then, very interesting to note, I want to point you towards Podesta, John Podesta email, number 36082 on wikileaks.org under the Podesta emails. He said, I am all for making an example of a suspected leaker, and then he says whether or not we have any real basis for it. Okay? Poor Seth Rich, just trying to do the right thing. He was made that example, but everybody now is realizing that he was a hero, and you know, he's getting the post-death honoring that he so deserves. So I don't think this story is going to die into the night. I think this very well was, essentially you could say this was like one of the next pieces, right? It's giant 5, 6, 8D chess match going on right now, and this is one of the pieces. And again, this alliance that's trying to take down this deep state, they've probably been wanting to do these mass arrests and get people like Podesta and Hillary Clinton in jail for months. But what they are up against, and this is a thing that not a lot of people realize, even those that are awakened more so to what's really going on, they don't realize the breadth that this deep state octopus, this crime syndicate has infiltrated to. So, you know, they expect, oh, you know, James Comey, he should have been fired right when Trump got into office and all this stuff going on. It's so complicated that it's not just going to happen like that. And also, funny enough, speaking of which, there was a video I saw from another YouTube channel. What was it? I want to name it right now so I can give him the honors. Zublik Report, I think. Anyway, he released I will link it down below so I'll get the right name for you. This guy on his YouTube channel released a report just yesterday where he did some really good research connecting the dots as to James Comey getting fired because of the Pizzagate investigation, or lack thereof, or lack of any investigation or any arrest into pedophilia. So this is a very interesting week because we had Comey firing, who most likely because he was with the pedos, working with them, aligned with them. Now we have the Seth Rich information coming out. We have a private investigator who used to be a DC homicide detective coming out saying, oh, you know, the reason there's been no investigation into his death is because the DC police chief is in on it. And there's literally been stifled investigations by the government and by the police precincts themselves into this stuff. So that's why this hasn't come to light. So what I think is we're going to see, man, this is all going so fast, dude. Like weeks, if not... It's going to be quick. This thing's going to get rolling and rolling and rolling. So I'm really freaking excited. That's why I'm talking so fast and have all this energy right now. One thing I do want to note before I get into the last story that I want to discuss. I've been seeing this article go around the internet where it's discussing 23 different high-profile... So supposedly, I completely forgot to put this story on the whiteboard. I wanted to talk about it, but so I'm going off the dome now, freestyling this news update. What apparently this article was saying was that there's some foreign intelligence report apparently that got released in Russia. I don't even know. I'll link it down below again so you can do some more looking into it, see exactly what it says. But it said essentially in Philadelphia there's this prison that is allegedly getting ready to obtain 23 high-profile political prisoners, per se. And I don't know what the heck this article was saying, but when I researched it, I was trying to find where that so-called foreign intelligence report stemmed from, and literally I couldn't find it anywhere. And then once I finally dug around a little bit, I traced back to the original article that this came from, and it came from none other than this guy or person or girl or whatever it is, Sorcha Fall. So Sorcha Fall has been known to be full of all kinds of disinformation. So whether that's true, I mean, the way all of these events are going, I don't doubt that very soon we're going to see some arrests. But you need to be very careful of all these fake news articles coming out. Like this one, these 23 high-profile prisoners. In my opinion, all this stuff around Trey Gowdy, like Trey Gowdy being under protective custody and 2 of his agents getting killed in Arkansas and stuff, I think all those were fake stories as well. So there's a lot of fake stories coming out just to muddy the waters. And you have to be a really keen discerner and always follow the information and follow the sources back. So if you see something in a alternative media outlet, make sure they source where they get their information from, and it's actually clickable stuff that you can go checking out. So be very careful, guys. And speaking of Trey Gowdy as well, another thing I didn't write down, but good old TG there, he said that he's going to turn down and not run for the FBI director position. So dang it, that was my bet, and that was my hope as well. But I still have faith that things are going to turn out for the better, however they're going to turn out, because at this rate, again, there's going to be, I'm sure, more bombs dropped that we didn't even freaking expect. And at this rate, it's only going to get more exponential. So anyway, that's that. Now I want to get into this, which is really freaking cool this morning. Found it it was reposted by Corey Good on his Sphere Being Alliance Facebook page. the secret space program whistleblower Corey Good, he reposted a video. Oh, I don't know the YouTube channel again, man. I'm sucking with my sources today. Anyway, he reposted this video from a YouTube channel where this YouTube channel was discussing the TR-3B. So these guys, they just released a report on the TR-3B like 2 or 3 days ago, and they were talking about secret projects, which it's like my specialty right there. And apparently one of their viewers sent them a link to a patent for the TR-3B. Now, if you don't know what the TR-3B is, go check out multiple videos I've done lately. One was on alchemy, one was on... When did I mention it again? I think I might have mentioned it in my overview of the Secret Space Program video I did last week. But the TR-3B is a very dark black project that deals with anti-gravity, and it's been alleged for a long time that these exist, and, you know, going around the esoteric Secret Space Program circles. But this commenter on the video of the channel actually posted the patent, and you can literally go check out the patent. So apparently the patent's on Google. I'll, you know, bring it up here. I'll link it down below. It says patent US 20060145019A1. Triangular spacecraft. Abstract. A spacecraft having a triangular hull with vertical electrostatic line charges on each corner that produce a horizontal electric field parallel to the sides of the hull. Whew! That's literally on Google, which, you know, in all realities here, it looks like that they could be easing out. By they, I mean different factions of the secret space program, of the black corporate space projects. They could be leaking out a lot of this information to start disclosing it. And this could very well be a very big leak. Now, what I also want to discuss with you in regards to this patent, there's another patent for electrostatic propulsion, basically anti-gravity. Even though anti-gravity is kind of it's bad terminology. It's not anti, it's gravity controlling. But anyway, these patents are on Google, but what's super important to note, there's like a lot of science with this too. So you can go check it out if you're a science buff. Anyway, under the patent citations on this article, it says the publication date was 1972. Methods and means for creating artificial gravity in spacecraft. That was the title of it. Cited patent US 3675879. So in 1972, methods and means for creating artificial gravity in spacecraft was patented. Basically this, 1972. Then we have the patent citation for the rotating electrostatic propulsion system. This one, and basically the publication date for this guy was on 2004. Publication date 2006. So, hold on, there's a few different ones here. Ah ha ha ha, gotcha. So originally, yeah, very interesting. So the patent for this one was released in 2006. Okay, this was a different patent. This, the 1972 one was the patent for creating artificial gravity in space. Then the TR-3B one came out in 2006. So if it was published in 2006, that was 11 years ago. What's going on in my head right now, and I'm just gonna word vomit my thoughts to you. I've been researching the TR-3B for a few years now, and I know many other people have had too. If this legitimate patent has been online since 2006, why don't we know about it? Why are we just finding out now? Why hasn't this information been around a little more? Because it's not like this is not coveted information. It's very coveted information. And there's some very good researchers out there researching it. So I'm pretty freaking sure if this patent has been out since 2006, has been published, right? Since 06, why haven't we seen it? So what I'm thinking is that with this triangular spacecraft patent, I think it might have been put online onto Google, but backdated for various reasonings. And we can speculate on those reasonings, but I think this was literally probably published. It could have just been published in the past couple of days, actually, and this patent, who knows? Who knows if it's a real patent, or maybe they just patented it and they backlogged everything to make it look like it's been around a while, but they just published it to start getting these disclosures out. And then they say, oh, you know, this patent's been out for a while, and it's like you know, it's like it's setting us up. It's a very crucial piece of partial disclosure that they that hasn't been there, but they want to make look like has been there. Do you kind of see what I'm saying? So that's something that I was like scratching my head over. Like, if this has been publication date July 6, 2006, why has no one known about it till now? Well, hey, maybe they're, you know, trying to cover their ass as well. Say, oh, it's been out in the public. Or maybe, you know, this is an easier way to get this information out to the public, is just to make it look like it was backlogged, but it was really published yesterday. And now, you know, some random person commented on a video of some guys happened to talk about it, and now it's starting to circulate a little bit. So maybe that was a ploy. Maybe, you know, there was somebody in the Air Force or the Navy that sitting at a computer, oh, let's make it look like it was published in 2004, and then now it's getting out there. But regardless, right, I just keep ranting and speculating on that. This patent's out in the domain, so check it out. Check the science out, and it looks like that we're going to get a lot more serious stories in the mainstream media about things like anti-gravity and all these secret space program science. Okay, we already are. You can go on to futurism.com and space.com and whatnot, sciencealert.com as well. Those are some of the three main ones I go to. But there are articles literally every day saying that, oh, time travel is now a mathematical possibility, or oh, now we have quantum communication systems that work, or oh, this new plasma reactor that can create limitless energy is a viability now. It's crazy how much disclosure they're putting out in these mainstream science circles. So I think this is another piece of it, and who knows, maybe some mainstream website soon will pick up this patent, and it could be why they backlogged it. So soon, you know, we'll see it on the mainstream media, and the disclosure ball will keep rolling. But again, it's very important to understand the whole picture so we don't get bait and switched by any partial disclosure nonsense. So anyway, that's the news for today, folks. This ended up turning into a freaking 23-minute video. Long. I was only expecting it to be like half that, but I can rant. I rant well. So thank you guys for following along. Thank you guys for all of your support. You guys kick ass. I am off tomorrow. I'm busy, so I won't be doing a video tomorrow, most likely. Thursday, I leave at the ass crack of dawn to go to California, and then I'll be doing some videos there. Probably be doing mostly live videos for the next week or so, but I'll be doing a few of them, and I'll be talking to some pretty interesting people. So anyway, peace out, guys. Check back in and stay tuned. Cool stuff coming.